Kia ora koutou, nau mai, hara mai, and welcome along to everybody joining us here live in the audience, and also to everybody at home that's tuning in, streaming live on the internet. This is the Internet Party Candidate Challenge, and this is going to be awesome. I'm Holley.
And I am Helena McAlpine. And today, we're going to be putting 22 political wannabes through their paces to determine who will become the Internet Party's next top candidates.
Without further ado, it's going to be awesome, and let's get into it. It is round one, and we can see our contenders here, our candidates sitting in the hot seat.
I was expecting them to be a little bit more nervous, but they're actually looking pretty calm.
Whakatukatoa hua rahi huri mai toka nohi ki tā ao marama. E tātri ana nā mokopuna ana tauhou ki te heke mai ti hei Māori ora. So clear those obstacles that impede your pathway and turn your face to the world alight for those generations yet unborn are waiting there for you.
Kim, Miss Hari, Vikram, you guys have done an amazing job putting this together, motivating people and giving them a voice and a platform to stand from and deliver some political promise to this country.
2 years ago, Kim's house got raided by the New Zealand government using enough force to take over a small country. And judging by the force, you would expect his house to be filled with terrorists carrying AK-47s being charged with murder. But no, it was Kim and his family, and he was being charged with copyright.
They are the greatest assets, therefore we need to invest in them. How do we help them? We provide the necessary skills to enable them to function in a digital future, because that's where our future is heading. We will ensure high-speed internet connects every classroom in a safe and teacher-led environment, and that teachers and students are provided with the necessary tools to succeed.
As a social worker in school, I get to engage with a diverse range of people, be that parents who are business people or people who are beneficiaries. And I've learned one thing from all my experience on the ground talking to families. All families, it doesn't matter where they've come from, it doesn't matter who they're hanging out with, it doesn't matter whether they're making good or bad choices in life, all families want better things for their children.
Change is something that must happen. Nothing in the world happens without change. In the old days, change only occurred because of what's that word? Revolution. Oh, thank you. The guy with the purple shirt. Now, who would not say it better than that? Thank you. Because of revolution, and the internet age is a revolution.
The main thing that I am here for today is because I give a damn. Okay? There is a big, massive problem with how Aotearoa is being run, I believe. So I'm basically here just to say that I'm not down with how this country is run. I would like a change. And I think that at this particular time, that if we can make a change for our youth, for our rangatahi, for our peoples, for the grandmas, for the children, for the students, for the workers, basically for everyone, and especially for myself, what I believe the tangata whenua, then I think that the Internet Party, which is right here, which we're all here for, can actually make that change. I do believe that we can make a change.
What the Internet Party stands for is the true spirit of the internet. The internet which represents the renewal of community, this time in digital, not geographic spaces. Many have and will continue to say that the Internet Party is about money. Well, I for one will stand up here and say that yes, it is. It's about the student debt with which we shackle our young people.
The Internet Party wants to challenge the traditional perceptions of what it means to be eco-friendly and prove that it is possible to be a greenie without sacrificing your quality of life or the economy. Between 2008 and 2011, the World Wildlife Federation ranked New Zealand with a D and for their compliance with the emissions trading scheme. In particular, their progress towards renewable energy targets. New Zealand needs to take this very seriously.
Government, communities, businesses and parents all have a responsibility for New Zealand's future, enabling the education that our children require and deserve, that they may take even bigger steps than we could have ever done.
I believe in our country. I believe in its amazing potential. What I don't believe in is selling off state assets, selling off our natural environment, and selling off our rights and freedoms. The Internet Party is my first political party that I have ever joined. I joined it because what it stands for just makes sense. Gandhi once said, you know what, be the change that you want to see in the world. So I replied and said, okay. And that's why I'm here, to stand up and be that change.
are you finding the candidates so far?
Totally exciting, amazing group of people. I'm really looking forward to working with them.
We'd like to welcome up our first candidate for round 2.
By day, I work in the IT industry, but by night, I roam the streets fighting against the city's injustices. With the birth of the Internet Party, someone is finally listening to the people, enacting true democracy, something that I want to be a part of and that everybody here can be a part of.
People at home, friends of mine, my family, hi mum, and people in the audience that know me, they're not going to be very surprised by the fact that I decided to finally stand up and run for this. They've always said, you should run for Parliament one day. And I've thought about it, and as much as I support the other progressive parties totally, none of them have really called out to me in the way that the Internet Party does. The Internet Party is different, and it's because it wants to do things differently. And it shows a change in the way that we can engage in politics. And I think this is the number one thing about the Internet Party.
We've been married now for 2 years, and we're looking at the future and the whole point in terms of starting a family. And the conversations we've been having at this, there's a lot going on in this country that we really wouldn't be comfortable bringing kids into. I personally believe that the Internet Party is the major vehicle that can make this happen. It's the only party that's dreaming the big enough dream to actually get what needs to happen done and get it done in a reasonable time frame.
I've spent a long time studying issues related to gender, power, identity and practice. And I've just found the rate of change within academia painfully slow. And I know that politics is not a magic bullet and doesn't fix things instantly, but I feel like I can make more of a difference if I'm in the public realm doing the things that I want to do to make social and political change for our people.
I had a thought as a kid that if I could get rid of all the weapons in the world would be a better place. As a kid, I was given a gift. I was given the gift of freedom, a gift of a safe environment to be creative and to actually inspire myself and actually lead for myself.
I am a policy researcher by training, and I have worked on issues of trade policy and been part of multi-country projects, conducting social impact assessments, examining social policy across multiple countries, and looking at women's economic status and so on. I was therefore very interested when the Internet Party independence policy was released 2 days ago. This policy outlines how national policy space, which is our sovereignty, can be traded away through trade agreements and other multilateral agreements.
I've been asked a lot, why the Internet Party? Why? Oh, they're an odd-looking bunch. And I stepped back for a bit and I thought, well, you've got, okay, so we've got come over here, he's got all the bucks, and then you've got Layla over here, stunning woman, and then you've got Horny on the side, Horny on the side, and then, very, very diverse. I mean, these people got nothing in, you'd think they've got nothing in common. And then when I stepped back, I realised, shit. This is a true reflection of today's New Zealand. We are so diverse. We are so diverse.
Yes, I am from humble beginnings, an automotive engineer. I've walked through academia in the Māori world and pursued financial policies and economics. I travel through the internet world and follow all policies on the global stage. It's no surprise that when I go home to trade cryptocurrencies in the workshop, I greet you with, oh, hello, Cuss.
It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here today because I think that we are witnessing something special. But I'm excited about the groundswell of support that is building around this party, that people do want to see change, that there are people who care deeply about the kind of New Zealand that they want to live in and are prepared to stand up and be part of that. You will have heard it said that this party is the plaything of a dot-com millionaire. I see this party as a product of our times. This party was born out of events that stand right at the heart of some of the most pertinent issues facing our society today.
I love my country. I love my people. I love our culture. And I'm excited about our future. But I'm concerned about our ability to get there. It's time for the focus to move away from politics and politicians and move back to policies and the people.
I'm just going to take a second and remind you of something. I'm 22. 22! Yeah. And I'm standing on a stage right here applying to be a candidate for Parliament. That's incredible. Can you imagine any other party doing that? No! This is an incredible opportunity, not just for me, but for all of the candidates here. So let me say, and I think they'll all agree with me, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Kim.com. Thank you, Lyra, for coming to lead us. We thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for round 3? Here we go.
This can happen any time of the day, in the morning, at night, at your work, and that is the issue of paper cuts. Having worked in the hospital, I often get severe amputations and many health-related problems which cost the taxpayer fortunes every year in trying to reattach severed limbs as a result of severe paper cut damage.
Are you so dead set on decimating our paper and pulp industry? What are your alternatives?
Absolutely, there's many alternatives. For example, a more rustic option is to use leaves, wood carvings, or also blackboard and chalk. We could also invest in our green industry and grow some hemp, which is, hemp's good for everything, basically.
First of all, let's think about its current shade, black. Black is not even a colour. That is just lazy uniform design.
So, if the All Blacks are to wear yellow, what are the Australians going to wear?
We would confuse them. We know they're not that smart. Yes.
Couldn't we do it like in that song, little compromise, black and yellow, black and yellow?
Maybe. We can look like bumblebees.
So my question is, shouldn't we have recognised New Zealanders on the face of our currency? And we all know Levi Hawken. He is a household name. We know him in his entirety. The full 9 seconds. Hope for our youth.
Next minute, time's up.
Do you even know Levi?
Not personally, but I think we all feel a connection.
I've been speaking to some scholars and some historians, and they've found that actually it's an encrypted language. It's been pointing to an ancient civilization. When you speak it, it unlocks encoded DNA in your body, which has been pointing to the pyramids and the Mayan temples, and most recently to Einstein, Kim.com, and Middle Earth.
Egyptians, Mayans, ancient prophecies. Is your source Colin Craig?
Colin Craig. No, it is written.
Zagor shall be a deliberately planned city that is built expressly to house the seat of government superseding Wellington. It is situated in an area where earthquakes barely have an impact. Wellington is such a disaster zone waiting to happen, and it would be a great detriment to the country if its capital were to be hit by a big one.
What would the slogan be? Absolutely, positively gore?
It does sound kind of violent, but I think as the city of our nation's leaders, why not? Yes.
Your moot is New Zealand should become part of Australia.
You may actually be surprised to know that New Zealand and Australia actually share a land border. The two territories in Antarctica that New Zealand and Australia own respectively mean that you can actually wander directly from New Zealand through to Australia, provided you get relatively cold before you start.
Then would you change the All Blacks uniform to yellow?
No.
And he says, my Wi-Fi give me cancer. So I went home and he showed me. And he goes, I go up to, and I poke my Wi-Fi. And then I run, she punched me. I run outside and I have a smoke. My Wi-Fi give me cancer.
Fantastic. Bang
you.
on time as well.
So you want to run as a candidate for the Internet Party, and you think a wife's eye is Wi-Fi.
Yes, I misinterpreted what he had said. I didn't realise he meant wife's eye.
Anyone stupid enough to go make a religious building out of paper? You guys have been to Christchurch, eh? Who hasn't been to Christchurch?
Yep.
Okay, so what, you go down and they actually made this building out of paper. It's shocking. Can you believe that? Like when it rains, the paper falls down? Who actually have played with Lego in your lives? Put up your hands. Okay, I expect nearly every Kiwi to have played with Lego. Okay, one easy thing that would be really easy to be able to tell if you had a red district, you would make that Lego out of red. Okay? Everyone's like, oh, mate, don't bring that stuff into it.
Have you found a architect, builder, construction company willing to take this on?
We have many guys that actually will be able to qualify yourselves through the art of making of Lego houses at schools that will be able to qualify for that actual job right now.
Candy Crush will save the economy, the environment, and much, much more. Now, according to Candy Crush's own reliable statistics, they make around $550,000 a day. How about instead of selling assets, we buy one? Let's buy Candy Crush, make it the national game, and then let's have that money work for us. Let's all get on board and crush some candy!
Let's do that. Time is up.
I will suggest that we release Candy Crush 2.0 sugar-free edition so we can all do it healthily as well as helping the economy.
It's actually been discussed quite a lot last month in the European Union elections. And the European Union is one of the world's largest democratic systems, and they're having to come down really hard on people who are taking selfies of themselves in the photo booths. And the Electoral Commission is really worried that if they take a selfie of themselves, they may inadvertently bring a threat to the secret nature of our democracy. And so they're imposing £5,000 fines on people if they do this, or even 6 months in prison.
What do you say to people who think that they have a right to take selfies and that the government has no right interfering in that?
Fair enough. You got me.
The country needs to instate a ministry of memes. This ministry would be solely responsible for the production of memes of all varieties and categories to ensure that the country's supply of unseen memes does not dry up. If this supply was to dry up, our workers would slump into a deep depression. Productivity would be at an all-time low, and the New Zealand economy would take a drastic nosedive.
So aren't memes by definition viral and infectious ideas? So therefore the attempt to regulate them would probably be self-defeating.
One does not simply answer that question.
Salt and vinegar potato chips should be banned. Exactly. What were we thinking? And I must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I spent several days researching this subject at personal risk to myself. And I'm thinking, what's going on with this salt and potato chips? Banning them, half the supermarkets in South Auckland will be empty. What are they thinking?
If we ban them rather than regulate them, will people stockpile them and will there be a black market for salt and vinegar chips?
Well, there is in South Auckland.
New Zealand, clean and green. Why not? That would sell us. We need to make sure that we sell ourselves out there. And then you're looking at legalising cannabis. Why not? Then we can be the first legal green country with a green flag. We'll also be able to tax all those people who are going to sell marijuana, cannabis, and then, ting ting, we fill up our coffers. Come on, guys, it's not rocket science.
Now, I'd argue that possum would be a much better symbol than a sheep. After all, they're immigrants like most of us. They're impossible to eradicate, so they're symbols of determination. What would you say to that? How can you argue against that?
Possums have their uses, but I think I would prefer to eat sheep from a hangi than possum from a hangi.
We only show our best meals. We only show the most interesting meals. We only show photos of ourselves doing interesting things, going to interesting places. And what that means is, when we require people to take photos of their lunch, we're going to spend more time making sure that our meals are tasteful, making sure that our meals are healthy. So what does that mean? We're going to be spending our lives eating healthy meals, and that's going to save our lives.
Don't you think people will just lie and take photos of things they're not eating and then go eat the bad stuff?
Some people will lie, some people won't bother. They'll probably post a photo of a potato on Facebook or Twitter. But a lot of people will be eating healthy, and that's what, if those people can live a longer life, that's what matters.
I'm sorry, South Island, pack your bags, you're moving.
Our plan is to turn it into a conservation centre, a wildlife reserve where all of the dying animals can be moved to the South Island so they can be flourishing, growing, and, oh, God knows.
What happens to the hydro dams? Are they allowed to send electricity if people are not allowed to keep an eye on them?
Until New Zealand can come around with a better power policy, we would need to keep the hydro dams running, of course.
We must stand up and affirm our rightful geographical tino rangatira. We are the first to see the sun and also the first nation, the best little nation with our right to take our place atop of the world. So switching the names of the islands just makes sense because the South Island will be the new North and the North Island will be the new South.
Would Stewart Island not in fact be the North Island?
No, we'll keep that. Stewart's a good name.
In 2012 to 2013, there were 4,700 stand-downs, 1,700 expulsions from schools. Now, if this is showing that our mainstream education is not working in New Zealand, I don't know what is. Now, on to the funny. What we can do if we abolish the schools, we can take all the kids out, get them to learn IT and technology, and make New Zealand a more awesome place by doing that.
So how do parents get a break from their kids?
By sending them to their neighbours.
The national anthem should be changed to How Bizarre. It's obvious, really. The work of musical genius that is How Bizarre offers the perfect encapsulation of New Zealand's idiosyncratic and laid-back attitude.
Will there be a Maori version, and how will it go?
I couldn't do a direct translation, but I assume that we will do a half and half situation in a rugby game. And people will mumble through it like they currently do, unfortunately.
1. Jandals are open, just like policy making and representative governance should be. 2. They are practical on a sunny day and also practical in a torrential downpour because you can just slip them off and make your way through the puddles. 3. They are resilient and flexible, and so should our governance structures and our politicians. They're a cross-cultural clothing item, popular not only in New Zealand, but widely worn by our close Pacific neighbours.
Could we have a minister of jandals? We maybe hire someone's mum just to, whack some politicians over the back of the head if they misbehave themselves? I could think of a few that could use it.
As citizens, that is our job. So the jandal policy is also looking for more input, more active citizenship.
Regulating the sale of fireworks is an indictment on our freedom and our dignity. Let's take back the right to explode dynamite in quantities as we wish. Let's take back the right to that element of danger to make us remember that we're still alive. Let's take back Guy Fawkes, New Year, and let's make our bonfires awesome again.
You are saying the next New Year's firework that I sponsor, I don't need permits for?
Oh my God.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm hearing a lot of support for this policy. I don't hear any objections yet.
Thank you very much, David.
We need to get engaged with our environment in order to preserve it. The only solution is to gather the best of our creative, our technical, our commercial minds and work with local iwi and the Department of Conservation to create an immersive and engaging experience for all.
The Bowen Falls, which is a walk, what would happen to that?
We will have the walk, but also for our disadvantaged patrons, we will also have a travelator to make life a lot easier.
I love those travelators.
Well, this could be the most revolutionary thing for our country. And the reason is this. Imagine if you had a lot more time to be able to pursue all those things that you ever wanted to do. We'd be able to get more people educated and learning. And with our free education policy, they've got the time to do it now.
In a 2-day work week, we need to adjust the minimum wage, right?
I think what we do is we take that out to the country and see what they think would be a fair minimum wage.
Well done, Chris. Thank you very, very much. That was awesome. What did you guys think of that? Round 3. Pretty cool?
Thank you all so much. I'm so proud of you, and I have no doubt you're going to take this to the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
Stay
you.
tuned. We're going to be announcing this at our media launch later on. I'm Jo Holley. I've had a fun time here today.
I'm Helena McAlpine. Quite frankly, I've got to go and have a sit down, maybe a glass of wine, take a load off.
And I'm going to go on the line and I'm going to do a bit of researching and all sorts and log off right now, though. Cheerio, everybody.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care.